Okay, hey there, it's meteorologist Jamie Singleton watching Tropical Depression Bertha move north, and I tell you what, it's moving a little bit farther to the west than it looked like we were going to see it move earlier today. It's being pulled to the west a little bit, but it's also being pulled to the north by an upper level low that's well off to the west. But I wanted to show you a couple of things. This is kind of a technical look at everything, but I do want to point out this one individual cell that's crossed from Halifax County over into Pennsylvania County. I've got my eye on you, Chatham, here because we've had actually one tornado warning already around the Raleigh-Durham area. And with any landfalling tropical system, you do have to watch the low-level wind shear can be very high, lots of moisture, not a lot of, ton of warm air that you would think, okay, it's 85 degrees and very muggy, we're going to get a tornado. But this is the type of air, when you get a tropical system, you'll be in the low to mid 70s. But your dew points are up there too, and that added moisture can create the instability, and that added wind shear is something to also watch. Speaking of that, I wanted to show you here in the middle of your screen, this is velocity data. There's actually a little bit of rotation. It's not a lot, so there's no warning out for this, but there is a special weather statement out for this individual shower here as it tracks from Halifax County into Pennsylvania County. There will be many more of these little tiny showers that pop up on the radar scope tonight. In fact, you can already see them developing here. This is Danville City. Again, this is going toward the Chatham area, Pennsylvania County. There's more heavy activity down here to the south across North Carolina. So it's something that I am watching in addition to the flash flood threat, which is going to be an issue as well. We do have some flash flooding ongoing right now, just started around the Charlotte, North Carolina area, and new warning out there. You can see the radar begins to fill in a little bit more here. This is the forecast cone from the National Hurricane Center. It's not really a cone as much as it is just a swath here. But it's very narrow. It was taking the center across Rocky Mountain to Roanoke Valley area, but now it's pushed a little bit farther to the west, and that's because of this upper level low that's sitting out here and producing all the thunderstorm activity and the severe weather out across Texas. Let me take my lightning strikes and make them a little bit smaller for you so they don't get in the way quite as much. So it's being pulled north and west, and again, I think even the far southwest part of the area that I cover here from Bristol east may have to worry about this heavier rainfall moving in. Hickory, through Shelby and Charlotte, Rock Hill here up around northwest North Carolina, the Boone area. This is a tender spot here, and you can see all those little individual tracks. That's where each little model has this the center of what's left of Bertha going basically from Mount Airy to Hillsville through Pulaski and up around Lewisburg. Areas to the east of this track now, because we've seen that little westward jog in the motion, there is just enough low-level wind shear to produce maybe an isolated tornado or at least some rotation. We're already seeing some of that rotation. I don't know if it's going to be all that significant, but it's something I wanted to point out. Your surface winds are right here, and you can see how they become more, because of the friction, they become more northerly and northeasterly around the northeast quadrant. You always have to watch that quadrant of the storm because aloft your winds are blowing at a different direction. And that can create, I don't like using the word spin up, but it's very applicable here because everything can really change in just a few minutes time and then it quickly dissipates. But that little shower is holding its own, and I'm going to show you here. It looks like let's go into my GR level 2 analyst here. This is storm relative velocity. This takes out the motion of the actual storm and also looks at maybe what's going on individually separate than just the overall flow here. There are 3 actual areas that I'm watching now. Well, we actually have one around Wentworth there and around southern Pennsylvania County and also to the north of Blair's. You can see that we start to see little notches here that get going around Elmo, tracking in the Chatham, and that's where the special weather statement's in effect, south of Gretna through Chatham. You've also got now around the Virgilina area here, not Virgilina, Sandy Level area. You've got a little bit of rotation here. No warnings out for that yet. And Wentworth, nearing the Stoneville area. believe it or not, there is a little bit of wind shear, and our values that we measure that with are not completely at zero. This is a look at what I like to look at for tropical type tornado potential. And you're looking at two different parameters on the screen. Here in the green area, you're looking at the dashed green lines are telling us where the cloud bases are. And if I know in Franklin County today, I could look out my window and I couldn't see the top of Grassy Hill. And so that's pretty low cloud base. So the lower the cloud base and you've got enough shear there, you don't really need a lot to get a quick spinning tornado that's very close to the ground. You've also got here enhanced areas where you see that 100 to 200 to 400. That is low level 0 to 1 kilometer storm relative felicity. So over top of those two values is where your greatest tornado threat is. And it's actually across North Carolina, and it's creeping into our part of Virginia. In fact, it's already into Southside Virginia, and that's where we're seeing a little bit of rotation here. So you hear that beeping going off in the background. That's when the National Weather Service is putting out some type of an advisory or a special weather statement or something coming in from the Storm Prediction Center. Anything off the weather wire for our area, including the national watches there, will alarm in the background just to let you know. But I want to zoom in here to these tiny showers here. This is around the Keeling area, just past through Ingram, just north of 360. This is in Pittsylvania County. It's moving on to the northwest at 25 miles per hour. So heads up in Chatham, just in case. Chatham and Gretna, watching that for you as well. For everyone else, it's just a moderate rain, but from time to time, we're going to see around Cascade here, may see something here in Wentworth as well. Watching those three individual cells, because we are now going to be on that quadrant of the storm tonight that's going to be giving us maybe some problems in terms of isolated severe weather. This is the water vapor picture, and I'll put this in motion. You can actually see I've got overlaid the significant, not the significant tornado parameter, the supercell parameter. It's very similar in value that I like looking at here, but we're seeing non-zero levels approaching right where we're seeing Halifax and Pittsylvania County cells begin to spin a little bit. So that has me somewhat concerned. Your upper level winds are located and are showing up right here coming out of the south-southeast, but your winds below that at the actual weather stations are coming in out of the northeast. So yeah, there's some wind shear there. There's some helicity. There's a little bit of instability. You don't need a lot of instability. You have a lot of wind shear with landfalling tropical systems, because even though it's weak, there's still a fair amount of frictional effects that causes the wind shear out there. So watching that for you very carefully. I'll be doing another full update later on, but we are expecting quite a bit of rainfall with this as we go through the overnight tonight, maybe up to 3 inches or so, especially in the New River Valley. I think areas Roanoke and the west will have the best chance of flooding, although most areas are going to see a chance of some flooding, at least with the ground so saturated. This system is moving through fast. Bertha's gaining forward speed. That's helping us on the flash flood threat, keeping it a little bit lower, but it's actually hurting us a little bit on the severe weather threat. And we're not talking about obvious thunderstorms. We're talking about rain, a rain shower that could quickly spin up into an isolated tornado. So I don't want you to panic. The threat's not huge, but it's also not zero. And typically with these systems, you do have to watch, even in our area, for something to develop. It looks like the best chance of that's going to be Roanoke and east, especially in the south side. So we move this model forward here as we go through 9, 10, 11 o'clock tonight. Still going to be raining pretty hard here, and it looks like the deformation zone is now going to be, that's the zone where the heaviest rain falls along I-77 and right up against the Roanoke Valley area. As we go through 2 a.m., things should quiet down a little bit, but we are going to still see some scattered showers and thunderstorms, as the new HRRR is suggesting here, the HRRR model, even into the overnight hours, maybe into central Virginia, a little bit of a tail of possible training storms here. That's interesting. That's just the latest model run here, and some of this could have some wind shear and enough spin to get an isolated tornado going as well. So I just don't want you to forget about the severe weather threat, because we do have an isolated tornado threat tonight, and then again scattered heavier thunderstorms and a very warm and soupy air mass for the next couple of days behind Bertha. So we'll continue to watch that for you very carefully, and I'll continue to update you throughout the evening. If any warnings or watches were to be issued, we'll let you know about that as well.